It's like we're getting Hillary Clinton in a worse suit. We're getting Hillary Clinton, but uglier and stupider and tackier and more vulgar and more pathetic. What was it all for?
Oh man, the Nazi just said that Donald Trump is uglier than Hillary Clinton and more tacky. I never thought I'd see the day. For some of them, I guess this was the breaking point. It was genuinely Jeffrey Epstein. It's been a wild week in the White House of the United States of America, and I know the entire world is watching and laughing. And I have seen commentators from virtually every country, it seems like. Well, not every, yeah, most. I'll just say all of them. You know what? I'm just going to make wild and immediately falsifiable statements. But it seems like a lot of people are just like, what's going on, America? What you up to? It seems pretty weird. It seems like for a very long time, everyone was obsessed with something called the Epstein files. And, you know, there's a lot of debate as to where exactly and who is in the Epstein files. One day they're going to be released. And, you know, once Donald Trump, the man who has proposed that he is going to destroy the deep state from within by becoming the deep state and then getting rid of the swampy aspects, and then replacing it, I suppose, with, I don't know, Christian goodness and butter. I've never truly understood the entire theory, but it may appear that he, in fact, wanted to actually cover up the Epstein files all along and try and distract everybody in a really ridiculous way, and actually kind of also just, you know, piss in the face of a lot of his biggest supporters who have made a living off vilifying queer folk as being pedophiles and groomers. I'm talking about HARASSMENT. I'm talking about Jack Posobiec. I'm talking about Charlie Kirk. All these people who are consistently being told, hey, by the way, everybody, if there is a person who is reading a story to a kid, I know that seems wholesome and wonderful, but if that person is wearing makeup or a wig and they're not a woman, then it's degenerate and it's a perversion and it's the exact same thing as child abuse. And so everybody get really mad about that and get really mad about Bud Light and get really mad about Legos and Skittles and everything else that we have to be angry about all the time. You're really, really mad. You're scared. You're angry at trans people. You're angry at trans kids. Keep on going. And then just, again, a lot of people would get death threats, bomb threats, schools, hospitals, nurses, doctors. Tons of stochastic terrorism, but they kept saying that the rallying cry was because they were trying to protect children from the potential child abusers. And then this happened. And then it's wild. Those same people, including HARASSMENT of Libs of TikTok and Jack Posobiec, were two of the people who were holding up the first leaks of the Epstein files. And it turns out they fell for it. Again, they deserve an award, you might say.
New this morning, outrage among the president's own supporters over how the Department of Justice is handling the so-called Jeffrey Epstein files. In a series of scathing posts on Twitter, longtime Trump ally, fierce supporter Laura Loomer called for the president to fire Attorney General Pam Bondi.
I gotta say, no one is mad at Trump. The dude who is all over the Epstein files, allegedly. The dude who apparently may have been sexually abusing children, allegedly. That guy, Donald Trump, the rapist. They're not mad at him. It's just like, Pam Bondi. This is Pam Bondi's fault, right? We got to get mad at Pam Bondi. It's Pam Bondi who did this. It's Pam Bondi who's trying to cover this all up. It's Pam Bondi who released that video footage inside of the jail cell that distinctly shows that there's like a minute missing. Like, where does that minute of time go? I mean, you released this footage being like, yes, this is the outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell. And based on the video footage, you can see that no one entered or exited the room. And so because of that, unfortunately, he did kill himself. And so we can put this whole rumor to rest. Yeah, it is pretty strange that there's a minute missing. But do you have a reason for that? Why you edited a minute of the footage out? Oh, because that happens every night. Yeah, every night at that exact time, apparently there's a minute missing or something. Is that working? Are you buying it? Anyone? No one? Oh, well, fuck you, I guess, is the official policy right now.
This all happened after a memo released by the Department of Justice and the FBI this week said that accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide, confirmed that. The Attorney General also said there is no evidence that Epstein kept a, quote, client list, despite previously suggesting there would be some kind of bombshell. CNN's Elena Treen live at the White House this morning, where this just doesn't seem to be going away, Elena.
Yeah, John, and it's not just,
Well, the other thing is that, like, I think Trump thought, just due to the kind of cult-like following of MAGA, that everyone would just instantly get in line on this one. Even if he handled this in the most, like, oh shit, he did that shit way, right? Like, there's ways you can try and, like, cover this up or even pretend to really care about it. Like, Trump could have been like, it's a mess. I'm trying so hard to get the Epstein files out. We really want them to be released, something like that. But instead, he did the opposite, where it seems like he really did that shit. Where all of a sudden it's like, why do you care so much? Why are you all obsessed? Why are you obsessed? Who cares? Stop talking about this. Tariffs. I got tariffs. Have you seen? Tariffs on everybody. Tariffs on all these countries. 25%, 35%, 39%. Do you care now? Let's talk about tariffs. I'm going to tariff anybody. I am tariffing myself. I'm tariffing America. America's got tariffs. Yeah. And then everyone's like, yeah, no, I don't give a fuck about that shit. You do that every other day. What's the deal, bro? What's going on here? Like, come on. You can't just say that you were going to destroy the deep state, that you were going to get into power, that you were going to drain the swamp, and that you were going to release the Epstein files. And then you even suggested, hey, by the way, I'm releasing the Epstein files. And everyone's like, oh, okay, he's doing it. All right, well, maybe he wasn't guilty. Maybe we were all wrong. And then you, like, released these super, super redacted documents that had nothing in them, nothing that actually revealed anything. And then everyone's like, okay, so that was a really shitty magic trick. Do you have anything else? And he's like, just you wait. We're getting there. Oh, yeah, in time, we shall reveal the truth. And then all of a sudden him and Elon Musk fall apart, and then Elon Musk is like, all right, time to go nuclear. Donald Trump is all over the Epstein files. I know, because I've seen them, because I was actually in the inner circle, and he's all over them. Yeah, the guy's a massive pedo. Yeah, super pedo. And then everyone's like, what? Whoa, my God, really? And he's like, I mean, not. Who's the adult in this room? Honestly. It just seems like a bunch of pedophile children running around, Spider-Man memeing each other, being like, haha, 'tis you that is the pedo. No, 'tis you that is the pedo. And in Trump's, like, cabinet of sexual assaulters, right? Like, a lot of people in his cabinet are actual just, like, accused of sexual assault, charged with sexual assault, multiple women have accused you of sexual assault kind of people. All of a sudden it's like, yeah, I don't know if y'all are the ones that are best equipped to deal with something of this magnitude. And it is kind of strange, though. For someone, say, like Kash Patel, who's now the director of the FBI, this was his personality. It was basically, Trump is God, QAnon conspiracy theories, but more than anything, I would say a centerpiece of his personality was that there's a massive pedophilic conspiracy that involves a whole bunch of really high-profile people, including a lot of Democrats, and you can, tie that in with the QAnons and the Pizzagators and all this kind of stuff. But as soon as he gets into power of any capacity, he is going to release the Epstein files, or he's going to do everything in his power to release the Epstein files. And then he gets into power and then just flips. And it's like, oh yeah, actually, it's not what you thought. There is no client list. That doesn't exist. Jeffrey Epstein was the only person who was abusing the children. And in addition to that, he did kill himself. Yeah, I know. I myself have been saying this for years, that, he didn't kill himself, and that there's a massive client list, and that it has some of the most powerful and rich men on that list. But maybe I was wrong all along. It does seem sus, super sus, that as soon as that, like, I'm in a position to actually reveal this information and have it, I do the exact opposite of what I've said I'd do my entire life. And yeah, that's kind of sus, and yeah, a little suspicious, but
people who are in the MAGA movement, in the president's base, and I will say there's many, it's not just Laura Loomer, but many other prominent people like Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, the list goes on, who have been really reeling from the drop of that memo that the Justice Department released on Sunday, essentially concluding, in their words, that Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide and that there's no so-called client list. But there's a lot of people as well inside the White House, the president's own officials, who are increasingly frustrated with how not just the Justice Department, but
Lance said to stay home and not vote. I saw him on my recommendations and want to jump in and remind him. Personally, I think it was cowardly. Can you provide any evidence of that in any capacity? Either a clip, a link, an article, a tweet of me ever saying that? Because, yeah, there's some things where I'd be like, ooh, I'm not totally sure what I said. That was a while ago. I can't remember. You really, did I? But that is just such a falsifiable lie, because I've never said that before in my life in regards to elections. I've always stated that even if you aren't going to do the harm reduction or vote for the lesser of two evils or any of that, you should still participate in democracy. That's one of my core beliefs. Yeah. So, again, please provide evidence that you should stay home and not vote, and then I will be like, you are correct. I am ashamed. I cannot in any way continue to do what I'm doing. Yeah, my sources, I made it the fuck up. Well, I don't know. Was it an out of context clip? Was I doing a routine? Was I doing an Alex Jones voice? Was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't vote because the deep state is going to be coming after you. But otherwise, I'm just curious why you would make such a blatantly false accusation.
Specifically, Attorney General Pam Bondi has handled.
I'll be back with it. Not going to listen to your rant, but I will be back. Cool. I'm excited. Where I told you and told everyone during the U.S. election to stay home and not vote.
I mean, I spoke with one Trump advisor. They said that Bondi had
I feel terrible.
bungled this case from the start by overpromising some of the findings that they were anticipating. Another advisor told me that this was a political nightmare, questioning why they released this at this point in time and the way in which they did it. Again, releasing this short memo and also leaking it to a certain media outlet. Look. Part of these problems as well that adds to all of this is Bondi's own claim back in February when she was doing an interview with Fox News where she said she had the client list on her desk for review. Now, she was pressed on some of these questions yesterday during the president's cabinet meeting and tried to argue that she was referring to the broader case. I want you to take a listen to both that interview, but also her response.
Interesting.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Now, look, we talked to a lot of different people following Bondi's answer there yesterday in that cabinet room who said that essentially they are not satisfied by that answer, particularly given so many people in the MAGA movement, so many of the president's supporters, and including even some people in his own administration had previously argued that there was so much more to this case, particularly wanting to unearth potential accomplices to Jeffrey Epstein, not totally satisfied by this. Now, the president, for his part, John, has argued that this is old news. He kind of dismissed some of the questions on this yesterday in that cabinet meeting as a desecration. And we are told that he's not acutely annoyed with Bondi herself. He was briefed on some of these findings last week by Bondi and the FBI director, Kash Patel, but still a lot of people inside the White House not exactly happy with how this all played out.
All right, Elena.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, it is also unfortunate that, like, I don't see as much accusations levied towards Trump. Obviously, like, there's a lot of people on the right who are like, oh, I'm just so disappointed, like Alex Jones and his fucking fake tears being like, oh, this is the saddest day in America, I can't believe this, does this mean what I think it means, and all this other kind of shit like that. But I mean, are any of you actually genuinely starting to want to take action, want to, I don't know, tell your audiences that perhaps you fucked up, that you made a mistake, that maybe it turns out that Donald Trump was closer to Jeffrey Epstein than you'd like to believe? I mean, you could listen to Jeffrey Epstein himself, who said that they were best friends, but yeah, I don't really see a lot of the right doing, a huge amount of trying to change. They are trying to distract everyone now. So the next day, Attorney General Pam Bondi put out this statement.
Over the past several weeks, the Department of Education has notified the Department of Education in California, as well as the California Interscholastic Federation, that they were in violation of Title IX. They were allowing men to compete in women's sports. Now, this is after years.
Ooh, so it's the old playbook. We're back. Yeah. Been, 48 hours? And so immediately it's like, hey, so we've tried a couple of the old tricks, but they're not working. Donald Trump did the whole tariffs. I got so many tariffs, but people are still basically like, why the fuck are you covering up the Epstein files? But he's like, but tariffs. And then everyone's like, okay. So what else do we got? What's the other thing? Immigrants, ICE. Look, hey, ICE is going to be raiding this homeless encampment center. That's happening. Look in LA. Yeah, you hate immigrants, don't you? We're going to be rounding them up. You just passed that budget bill, so we got so much more money. Concentration camps. We got concentration camps. Alligator Alcatraz. We got that. Did you care? Everyone's like, yeah, but Epstein. The fuck? You're covering it up. Jesus. They're just not letting this one go. What else do we got? Oh, right. Trans people. Yeah. Pam Bondi, get out there. Make a statement. Distract everybody.
Of their being in violation of Title IX. We informed them that if they did not change, that we were going to refer these cases to the Department of Justice, and we have done exactly that.
Thank you, Secretary McMahon, for all of your hard work. And today, the Department of Justice has filed a lawsuit against California Department of Education and the governing body for women's sports in California. We've made it very clear, only women in women's sports under Title IX. An example in California, a boy who was in track and field. He would have lost every race, yet in.
You couldn't expect or ask for a more cartoonish, like basically example here of the same strategy I've been telling you over and over. Spreading false consciousness, distracting the general public, while again, capitalists plunder every last remaining resource, consolidate power, and just do that over and over again. And honestly, Trump would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for that pesky Jeffrey Epstein, who again, this is something that the right had made such a core part of their personality for so long that it's really hard to get them to just be like, okay, we'll get in line. Okay, sure. Immigrants, we hate immigrants. Oh, what's Charlie Kirk saying? Apparently we hate Muslims too. We're just trying to go like real post 9/11 with everything here. But it's just so hard to forget and just pretend like it never happened when you are openly covering it up in front of the eyes of the world, right? And so this, I guess, is the latest attempt. I liked how Juniper said going into the replies and seeing the big bad T-slur rhetoric is not working on right-wingers is honestly amazing. I'm not actually going to click on it because I'm sure I might also see some horrifying things that are against TOS and will just ruin my day. So I don't want to have to scroll through it. But if that is the case, you know, I'm just going to take Juniper on her word here. That would be a delight to see if people are actually genuinely on the right. Just like, look, yeah, no, we're not saying that we're not also bigots, but like, come on. Can we get and focus on the one issue here and stop trying to distract us all? And so they really don't like Pam Bondi now. I guess Pam Bondi is the fall girl. Jesse Waters, White House press secretary Carolyn Levitt says, Obama, FBI, CIA directors committed corruption at the highest level and promises the truth will come out. Ah, another one of the playbooks. You all still hate Obama, right? Let's change the narrative. We're going to be going after Comey and going after Obama. And maybe Brandon. Can we bring back the fuck Joe Brandon stuff?
What we have seen is corruption at the highest levels against President Trump. The deep state threw everything at him to prevent him from coming back to this big, beautiful White House behind me. And he prevailed, and the truth must come out. And this administration is totally committed to transparency and to justice and to accountability. And we must have a rule of law in this country. We can't be a nation without law and order. That's what the president believes in, and I'm glad to see the Department of Justice is opening up this investigation. What we have seen is
pretty short clip, but there it is. Although a lot of the replies are saying things like this. Yeah, but Jesse, Pam Bondi also said this to you on February 26.
Over this will make you sick. 200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, well,
along with his co-defendant.
Absolutely, and he had help. That's for sure.
He sure did.
Oh,
we're hearing reports that there was an investigation opened into James Comey, who
Interesting stuff. It seems like the right is not buying this one like they do all the time. How long this will last, I don't know. Again, we're talking right now, it's the week of, right? By next week, there could be a major world event. Trump could want to, do another military strike on a sovereign nation that never attacked America. He could start some kind of, civil calamity in one of the blue states where he's like just arresting Democratic politicians. I mean, he might get to that point. I saw that Charlie Kirk today was posting, now is the time to start arresting Democratic politicians who stand in the way of ICE. So it could be something like that. Again, it's just like it's a matter of time before the right effectively stops being like, but what about Epstein? As of right now, though, it is, almost in some way kind of, I don't know, unique to see the right not just buying this shit and immediately being like, but what about Epstein? What about Epstein? I think this might be the one issue, even more so than other ones we've seen in the past, where a lot of right-wingers, because again, they made it their entire personalities, they can't just let this one go. They can't just immediately pretend like, yeah, I know, I hate immigrants and ICE, and I hate trans people, I get you, and yeah, I hate the foreign invaders, and I'm really scared of Muslims, all that kind of stuff, but covering up the Epstein files, my dude, in front of the eyes of the world. And as you're doing that, one of your previous strongest allies, Elon Musk, is actively saying to everyone's face, why is he covering up the Epstein files? Remember when I told you he was all over the Epstein files? I mean, he's not all over the Epstein, or is he all over the Epstein files? I don't know, but it is kind of sus. Interesting stuff. Apparently Nick Fuentes is shocked, disappointed, betrayed even.
It's a deep and personal stab in the back to all of his supporters, to everybody that actually believed that it was going to be different, that the kind of Pizzagate, Clinton cash, Fast and Furious, Tower 7, Bush lied, that kind of corruption, we thought it would be different. We thought that was over. Maybe that it was impossible, that Trump represented this wrecking ball of truth and anti-corruption and the populist movement, or something like that. Obviously, that is now over. Obviously, now there are no illusions anymore. He is just like the rest of them. He is just like the rest of them. Lying to our faces about something so gross, something so obvious, so in your face. Epstein did not kill himself. Everyone knows that. Obviously, he ran a blackmail ring. And he's going to sit there and get defensive and play games. And he's going to stand on the graves of the people in Texas and say, why is everyone even talking about this? Let's move on. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's worse than Hillary Clinton. Like, you want to say...
Whoa, I never thought I would ever hear something like that. It's worse than Hillary Clinton. My word. Trying to find some new ones that I hadn't seen before. And man, there's just a never-ending stream of these. Look at this one. The creativity that goes into some of these designs.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you. They were right about you. You are a con. You are a joke. And all that kind of stuff that we thought was kitschy and funny at one time. The hair, the ridiculous spray tan, his complete ignorance about everything, the long tie, all of it. What used to be endearing and charming and funny and now is tacky and lame and dorky and stupid. If it's just like the left, it's like we're getting Hillary Clinton in a worse suit. We're getting Hillary Clinton, but uglier and stupider and tackier and more vulgar and more pathetic. What was it all for?
Oh man, the Nazi just said that Donald Trump is uglier than Hillary Clinton and more tacky. I never thought I'd see the day. For some of them, I guess this was the breaking point. It was genuinely Jeffrey Epstein. There was so many levels of, okay, yeah, I mean, that kind of sucks. Okay, yeah, that's not great. Yeah, not exactly what I voted for, but, you know, at least we're ponying the libs, so we get to enjoy that a little bit. But now, this clearly was like, this was a scandal too far.
If we're getting war with Iran, and an amnesty and Silicon Valley and the White House, and they're burying the Epstein files, then what was it all for the past 10 years? And Alex Jones pointed out today, an Operation Warp Speed. I mean, think about it. 10 years, almost to the day. Would you think it was possible that we got a vaccine mandate, $8 trillion in money printing, bombing Iran, an amnesty, and we got it from Donald Trump? And now today he tells us there's no Epstein files, there's no client list, it was all fake. Okay. So you're Lyndon Johnson, you're Bill Clinton, you're George W. Bush, you're Hillary Clinton, you're just another version. And how long until... Is it going to be 4 years, 8 years? In the inauguration of 2028 and 2032, you're going to see Donald Trump sitting up there on the dais right next to Hillary Clinton, right next to George W. Bush, right next to Barack Obama, right next to Jill Biden. Remember, they used to say, oh, he's not like the class of presidents that came before. They don't like him very much. In 8 years, he's going to be sitting just with the rest of them. And I imagine you're going to have people like James Clapper and James Comey, these intelligence creatures. They'll be on CNN singing his praises, just like they do now for George W. Bush, just like they do now for the rest of them. It's unbelievable.
Wow. I don't know if everyone's going to be this strong in terms of their messaging. I think maybe Nick Fuentes is probably one of the most upset people. But it is certainly causing a rift finally. Elon Musk has been purging his X account of Donald Trump loyalists as outrage grows over the decision not to release the long-awaited files of child sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein. One day he criticized the Trump administration for trying to put an end to the issue. The former First Buddy unfollowed Attorney General Pam Bondi, whose handling of the case has also engaged some of the president's most ardent supporters. The change in status came sometime before 9 a.m. on Wednesday when X account Big Tech alerted publicly its discovery. Earlier, Musk was also unfollowed Fox News, which had previously given Bondi a platform to discuss the case and also lashed out at the president. How can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files? As the Tesla boss ramped up threats to form a new party after Republicans passed Trump's mega spending bill, Musk also purged his X account with the House Speaker Mike Johnson and the White House's rapid response account, the Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace, Energy Secretary Chris White, and MAGA activist Scott Pressler. While the billionaire has been cutting ties with Trump and those in orbit ever since their bromance ended weeks ago, the Epstein case has reignited tensions between the world's richest man and its most powerful leader. On Monday, Musk posted a series of tweets highlighting the DOJ's memo, contradicting that Bond's claims that more information would come out, and called the memo the final straw. When a user later asked if exposing the files would rank high priorities for the American party, the third party Musk has threatened to set up to take on Trump, the billionaire replied by posting a 100 emoji. The comments came after the Justice Department and FBI concluded that there was no evidence that the convicted sex offender blackmailed powerful figures or kept a client list, as many conspiracy theories suggest. The two-page memo also said there was no evidence to suggest Epstein was murdered, supporting a medical examiner's report that he died by suicide in a Manhattan jail in 2019. But the decision not to charge anyone over the Epstein files, release any more information about his crime, and the cause of death sent MAGA world into a tailspin, depriving conspiracy theorists of the smoking guns they had long thought would tie the influential figures to Epstein's sex ring. Bondi has been the biggest target of the outrage after she suggested in a February Fox News interview that the relevant documents were sitting on my desk right now. White House insiders have also spoken privately about her botched decision earlier this year to hand out the Epstein binders, supposedly full of new information to key MAGA influencers, only for them later to be discovered that there was no significant new facts inside. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson called the memo a cover-up after it was released. White Ring provocateur Laura Loomer demanded Bondi be fired. So Bondi is definitely like the fall person in all of this.
Don't let this happen to you. Go to serfscoffee.com to order the only end-to-end owned indigenous coffee company that delivers blood-free, conflict-free, and cruelty-free beans right to your door. 0% of people who drink serfscoffee.com have exploded spontaneously. By ordering right now, you get 10% off plus free shipping, and it's the best way to enjoy delicious coffee while not exploding. That's serfscoffee.com, serfscoffee.com.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This video wouldn't be at all possible without the financial support of all the people whose names you see on the screen right now. And if you want to unlock secret bonus episodes, content that we can't post anywhere else, or get the videos early before anyone else gets to see them, please go on to patreon.com/theserfs. For as little as $1, you can help support this channel and help make more videos like this possible. Our executive producers are Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, Bobby Lasers, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Garrett Sandoval, Hagbard Saline, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Papi, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Boehm, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Tigwig, Trav, and Words Greenwood. And also, it wouldn't be possible without all the names you see on the screen right now. Again, if you want to help produce this content, it's only made possible through the funding of our patrons. Head on down to patreon.com/theserfs. That's patreon.com/theserfs.